How's it going, guys? Hope you've had a great day so far. Arknights Endfield is a gacha game with a twist. There's a production line with limited area where efficiency is absolutely necessary. Before I explain about the blueprints I have created, I wanted to cover some nomenclature for my machine evaluation. Priority. This indicates the importance of the end product of the production line. For example, items such as hot capsule and amethyst components aren't really hugely required in mass quantities, but it's just good for the early game efficiency. This indicates whether the throughput is truly min-maxed. So I'm talking about whether is this what you need, or are you overcompensating, or are you undercompensating. Complexity. This indicates how easy it is to set up the machine, as some may require a little bit more detailed setup, especially on the input and output, control ports, and etc. All of these specs will be evaluated on the scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the lower end and 5 being the higher end. All the blueprint codes will be in the description below as well. Feel free to use them in your worlds if you see fit. Now, without further ado, let's jump into some of the most important automation that you will need in the early stages of Arknights Endfield. The first automation is one that everyone absolutely needs cause it makes things go boom! Hence the name Boom Farm V1. The specs of it are on the screen right now. Now you may ask, why is the priority only a 1 out of 5 when it's the farm that makes things go boom? Keep in mind that the quantitative importance of explosive isn't much. You're not gonna need a throughput of 100 explosive per minute. The efficiency here is a 5 out of 5 as the throughput is 6 per minute. Simply put, it takes 10 seconds to make 1 explosive, so making 6 per minute is already the max you can go with only 1 packager running. Complexity here is going to be a 1 out of 5 as all you need to provide is the input with raw amethyst and an output port. It may seem pretty disorganized, especially in the middle area here, but its compactness is on another level. Essentially, what limits this farm is the adjacent planter and seed picker, as well as this linear line from the planter to the shredder to the packager. As you can see, this limits the length while this limits the width. There is no way we can make this much more smaller, so there is a lot of empty space here and there may be room for improvement. Let me know in the comments on what you think I can do to further optimize this automation. Next is the Emerald Farm V1, short for Amethyst. The priority here is going to be a 2 out of 5 as the Amethyst component is only required for early game gear, but Amethyst part is required for many items, especially buildings. Not only that, this is going to be a source of valley stock builds from the first outpost in the early stages. The efficiency of this blueprint is a 2 out of 5 as the throughput is literally half its max value. I focus more on the compactness of this design since the priority is only a 2. Now going into nerd talk, feel free to skip if you're not interested. The reason for the throughput is half from its max is easily calculated as the required input is the 1 amethyst fiber and the gearing unit needs a ratio of 5 to 5 of amethyst fiber to erigo crust, which essentially makes the required input 1 as well. But in my blueprint, we only have 1 refinery over here, so its end products are actually being split by half between the fitting and the gearing unit respectively. Though this is easily solvable by adding another refinery and having double input. As you can see in my current setup, I have 1 input solely for the fitting and another input solely for the gearing unit. This essentially makes them both individual systems, but what I've actually done here is a hybrid farm where my erigo crust farm along amethyst parts and components. The reason why the blueprint combines 2 into 1 is because we don't need a crap load of it. We just need a passive generation that doesn't take up too much space. Complexity is also going to be a 1 out of 5. All you need to do is set up the inputs for raw amethyst and the erigo crust. Lastly, we have the Power Farm V2. Yes, you heard me right. I've upgraded from V1 to V2, though the only difference is that the size got reduced from a 10x13 to 10x12. But hey, real estate is expensive, man. Anyways, the priority of this is a 5 out of 5. Doctor, right? LC Valley batteries are going to supply your bases with the power you need until you get Farium from Science Park. Efficiency wise, I'm also evaluating this a 5 out of 5 as the throughput is the max you can go with 0 downtime. Now what do I mean by 0 downtime? Basically, your thermal banks are never going to go idle for even a fraction of a second, so you don't have to deal with your max capacity bobbing up and down like the stock market's price. Delving into nerd talk, feel free to skip ahead as usual. A packaging unit crafts a LC Valley battery every 10 seconds, so the throughput is ideally 6 per minute, similar to the Boom Farm. But as you can see, I only have 4 thermal banks running, so you may be wondering, some math isn't mapping, right? But actually, one LC Valley battery is only able to provide power for 40 seconds. Even if you use 6 thermal banks to match the 6 per minute output from the packager, your thermal banks are gonna go idle, which means your max power capacity capacity isn't going to be a fixed value. In terms of complexity, I'll be evaluating it a 2 out of 5 as this design not only caters to LC Valley batteries, it can also be easily upgraded to the SC Valley battery just by replacing the raw amethyst input to raw barium, as this design already takes into account the refinery and the fitting unit. For an honorable mention, let me introduce to you the Mad Farm V1, typically for flower powder. Priority is going to be a 2 out of 5 as it's the best early game mat you are gonna get. Efficiency is 3 out of 5 as the throughput is 30 per minute, which is half of its max value, but 30 per minute is definitely way more than you need. Complexity 1 out of 5. There isn't even an input. All you need to do is chuck some bug flower into the seed pickler and let it do its thing. I can literally chuck it anywhere as long as I can supply power to it. There we go. Anyways, those are 4 of the most important early game automation lines that you will need in Arknights Endfield. Let me know if you have any improvement to the blueprints that I have showcased in the comments below. And also feel free to comment any other item that needs an automation line. And don't forget, if you want to use any of these blueprints in your own world, blueprint codes are in the description below.